For people living with sickle cell disease, a pain crisis can change their story in an instant. Jordin Sparks is lending her voice and her personal caregiving experience to raise more awareness of sickle cell disease as part of a new campaign called Generation S. Join me as I talk about that and more with Grammy-nominated singer Jordin Sparks. Well, Grammy-nominated singer Jordin Sparks joins me now, along with Dr. Biree Andemariam, to share a new patient support campaign for sickle cell disease called Generation S. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Now, first, Jordin, tell us how and why you got involved in the Generation S Sickle Cell Awareness Project and how it connects to your own personal health journey.
Well, I had already a couple years ago been involved with raising awareness in different ways for sickle cell disease. My mom got remarried a few years ago, and with that came new siblings. And my youngest step sibling, Biree, had sickle cell disease. Unfortunately, she succumbed to the disease about 1.5 years ago. But she inspired me so much, and she was such a fighter, and she had a smile on her face and had such a sweet spirit, even though she went through the debilitating pain that sickle cell can cause. And for me, I do this in honor of her, and I hope that she's proud, and I also do this in honor of my stepdad, James. But I wanted to be a part of this because I think the conversation needs to continue to be had. I know there's conversations going on, but we don't talk about sickle cell disease as much as we should, as well as telling people that they should know their trait status and also being able to be aware of others that have it, because you can't tell that they have it just by looking at them. So to have compassion and to show empathy towards people when they say, hey, I'm in a lot of pain right now, I might not be able to make it to X, Y, and Z. To be able to do that, I think when we can exhibit those things, we can change the atmosphere and open up more lanes of conversation to be had.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for sharing your personal story with us.
Absolutely.
Now, Doctor, what is the goal of the campaign, and how can it benefit those who are living with sickle cell disease?
So the goal is to raise awareness about sickle cell disease. It's to let people know a bit about it so they understand that 100,000 Americans live with it and millions globally have it. It's something you're born with. It's not something you catch. It affects the red blood cells. So instead of the cells in the blood being able to circulate normally, they are very sticky in somebody with sickle cell disease. They get stuck in circulation periodically, and those sticky cells create blockages, and those blockages can cause pain. And so there are these periodic episodes of what we call pain crises that come out of nowhere. We don't exactly know the trigger. And individuals with sickle cell disease live every day wondering if they're going to have one of these pain episodes. And they're severe. Sometimes they have to stay home. They can't go to work or school. If they're bad enough, they have to go to the hospital or the emergency room to be evaluated. It disrupts daily lives. And I think part of this campaign's goal is to tell people the stories, but also give people living with sickle cell disease a place to share their stories and to understand that they are not alone.
Yeah.
Indeed. Now, both Dr. and Jordin, can you let us know what advice would you two personally like to give to those who currently have sickle cell disease?
I mean, I think it's different. I can only speak to my experience that I've gone through with my stepsister and my stepdad, but for me, I feel like being able to be empathetic and compassionate and to listen, to just be there for somebody, I think is a really huge part of it. Again, they feel very misunderstood sometimes because they can go seek treatment and somebody even in the medical field cannot understand it and say, well, I don't know how to treat you. And you know, they could be in a severe amount of pain. So I think to be able to listen to people and to just be there for them is really huge, as well as to be able to provide information for those that don't know what sickle cell disease is. So we have our two websites, joingens.com, where if you wanted to share your story, there's still the opportunity to do that, and there's also information there. And you can also go to sicklecelldisease.org, and there's tons of research and information there to find out more as well. Places you can go for your local chapter, how to support, all those different things. So I feel like those things are very, very important.
So the only other thing I'd say in terms of people out there with sickle cell disease is if you go and you listen to the stories, you can see that there are lots of people living and thriving with sickle cell, and you can and should be one of them.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that your advice as well as those resources for information.
Of course.
And again, those resources you can go to online is joingens.com as well as sicklecelldisease.org.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for joining me today, Jordin and Doctor. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time.
as well.
Have a great day.